Have you ever shown up to an event and said, hey, we're just going to divide and conquer, boots on the ground, walk up to whether it's booths or people and kind of do guerrilla marketing?
So it's an awkward Uno reverse of like, you're going up to this brand at their booth because it's like just the whole entire floor essentially is like brands we can sell to.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, hey, it's again like building that relationship, having the EQ to be like, hey, this is actually like, I know you're trying to sell me, but now I'm going to try and sell you because I'm walking up to you. You're thinking I'm like a wholesaler.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't own a boutique grocery store in LA. Like, I actually am trying to sell you. And I have closed deals from that. Like,
nice.
it does convert.
Welcome back to In-Person GTM Pros, the podcast where we interview industry leaders shaping the future of go-to-market. Today's guest is Grace Nicklas, an ecosystem marketing manager and a growth-minded professional who's turned event marketing into a true career accelerator. Grace leads in-person initiatives across events, partnerships, and field marketing. And what makes her story stand out is how she's strategically moved from content and events into a broader ecosystem role. Throughout her career, Grace has shown that in-person experiences aren't just brand moments. When done right, they drive pipeline, influence deals, and build partner relationships that create impact across the entire funnel. In this episode, we'll cover how event marketers can progress their career, why partnerships and events go hand in hand, and tactics that early career marketers can use to stand out. If you're an event marketer looking to level up or a GTM leader thinking about how to structure in-person roles, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Grace Nicklas.
Grace Nicklas.
Grace Nicklas, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. Thanks for coming out. I know it was a short notice trip. I think actually this is probably a record for the fastest I've ever met a guest and had them on the show. I think it's been about a week since we had the conversation.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I literally think it was a week. We met and you were like, oh, wait, we should have you on the pod. And I was like, I'm actually going to be in New York next week. Yeah. So let's do it.
Yeah.
And you're like, great, done. So that's how we got here.
We love it. And shout out Justin Silver because that's how this all happened.
Yeah.
Justin is organizing the first ever B2B fight for charity at Shop Talk in 2026. And we are both honorary members of the board.
We are.
And that's how this all happened.
That is how this all happened. I've gotten so many questions about it too. Like people are like, well, who's fighting? And I'm like, no, like the tech people are fighting. And they're like, well, why? And I'm like, for charity. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You've never heard of a fight for charity? Come on.
Yeah.
Like, I hadn't, to be clear. But now I have.
Especially not in the world that we live in. This is not a common thing. And so, hats off to Justin for organizing this whole thing. I can't wait to see how this turns out. But I think we'll probably touch on this in the episode, but bringing a little life and excitement to B2B and consumer. Like at the end of the day, I have a friend named Anthony Canada who coined the term B2H, right? Okay. So there's B2C, and then there's B2B, and then there's B2H. And the idea that behind every logo that we're looking to sell to as B2B marketers, there's a human who wakes up and listens to Spotify and puts on their shoes and deals with traffic and has a family and like has all these human components to their life and they're making the decisions. Right. And so marketing to humans instead of businesses, I think is huge. And just the bringing in like what people like to do to the equation, I think is a big piece of it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's been a huge part of what I've done has kind of just, I mean, again, we'll talk about this more, but in building out events, I kind of always started with like, okay, well, what would I want to do? Like, what's different? What's fun? So we've done ladies spa days because I was like, I want a spa day. I bet the ladies who are in charge of these brands also would like a break, would like to relax. They're crazy busy. They're stressed out. They're whatever. Like that's a different element of approaching business where it's not like, oh, let's do another happy hour. Let's do another dinner. Like we will do those things, but it's also like, okay, what actually adds value into their lives besides just a free meal on a spa day? Like that that adds value. So
Bingo.
I totally agree.
Amazing. Should we have some tea first before we get into it? Don't get ahead of ourselves.
Have a tea party.
So this is also first episode of the In-Person Go-to-Market Pros podcast, where we're going to prepare some fresh Chinese tea live for the audience. So you want to read what we got here today while I do this?
We have the oolong coffee roasted high mountain from Yan'an, China.
I think you said it right.
Okay, let's hope.
If anyone is a proper tea drinker, don't hate us if we do anything wrong here, but you want to do the honors and scoop.
Oh goodness. Okay. How much? I don't often make tea. I just order the tea. How much do I scoop in here? Do we know?
Yeah, probably like 2 or 3 of those. Okay.
Fab.
Yeah.
1, 2. Do we do another?
Yeah. Go. You know what? Let's go 4. Let's go 4.
Oh,
it's
4. Okay, we're making
it's Thursday. It's
strong
almost
tea.
the weekend. Yeah, we're going crazy today.
Friday Junior,
cool.
as they say.
All right. So we put that in there,
awesome.
and then
I'm gonna
pass that off to me.
To you.
We don't want you to burn yourself.
Absolutely.
We did not sign waivers. And then
That's
we're gonna
not part of the pod.
So this should be boiled. Let's make sure. Yeah, that's hot.
Okay, great.
So we're gonna pour this over here, and then we're gonna let it steep.
This is a great situation.
Thank you.
Like the whole
Thank
set.
you.
I like it.
It's very it's relaxing. It's like ceremonial.
Yeah.
I used to travel to China quite often in my first job.
Okay.
And the company produced ceiling fans. And so they'd take us, we'd go to different suppliers that make the blades, the wooden blades, the glass light bulbs, the like little metal screws and components. And they'd bring us to their office and they'd kind of just sit down, and it's like clearly a tradition over there.
Right.
Every boss in their office would have this big tea table, and they had their own unique setup, and they would prepare tea in these little cups, and you just sit and you chat and do business.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We need to bring that.
I agree.
To bring that here.
We need to bring that to the US.
Yeah.
Some good old traditions. I guess we have coffee and beer.
That's true.
But something about these little glasses just makes it like
the little glass is just it's such a cute little moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So we're going to let this steep for approximately 2 minutes.
Great.
I think.
Perfect.
Different kind of teas are supposed to steep at different temps for different times, but we're not that. Sorry if anyone again is
we're
like,
not that serious.
We're not that serious. So we're gonna let that steep, and then
cool.
So Grace, I'm really excited to chat with you today for many reasons, but one in particular is that so your title right now is marketing. Let me get this right. Ecosystem marketing manager.
Correct.
But what I think is really cool is prior to that, most of your career has been event marketing manager.
Correct.
And so you have figured out how to use marketing manager as a stepping stone to something bigger. Events are still very much a big part of your role.
Yep.
Maybe part of the ecosystem that you manage.
Yes.
So I think what's cool here, and I'd like to unpack, and like, how did you get here? What does it look like? For anyone else who's an event marketer looking to grow in their career, potentially beyond event marketing, but still use that as a strategic lever in their career for growth. So that's kind of open-ended, but wherever it feels right to start, like walk us through how you got here and what do you think some of the keys to success were?
Cool. Yeah, so I'll walk it back just a little bit. So I've been in tech for 3.5, maybe like closer to 4 years now. I originally started at a company called Inveterate. And so that was a membership software, essentially like powering memberships. The company I'm at now is a subscription software. So like kind of in the same vein, a little different. Before my time at Inveterate, I had always worked in content and social media, content coordination, filming, like any of, you name it. Like that was kind of my route. Got hired pretty shortly after college, actually, at Inveterate. And it was just because they were looking for someone to do content that was local to where the CEO lived. So I started doing that. After I think like probably 8 months, I went with the CEO and with my boss to a big event. And at my time there, obviously was shaking hands with a lot of people, just meeting, greeting, etc. When we got back from the trip, they were like, oh, you know what? Actually, would you be interested in partnerships of some kind? Which essentially is just like, okay, our tech platform does memberships. Yours does pop-ups. Yours does SMS. How can we collaborate and like make, make something happen?
Yeah.
So that was what I moved into. As part of that, we started doing the events. So like I technically wasn't originally ever going for events. Like I'd always liked events. I'd kind of done things like relevant to that, but that wasn't like my goal. In doing the events, we realized it was lucrative enough for the business that they were like, oh, we'll actually just carve you out your own events. So, like you will just handle events. That's what you will do. So you'll put them together. You'll find the prospects. you'll bring them there, you do the invites, you do the landing page, whatever it is. So that was kind of how I moved into that. April of this year, I jumped over to Stay, which is the company that I'm at now. They were always the best partner of ours. I got along really well with the team. I knew it was a great product. So like when the time came for a change, I was like, okay, great. I'll just hop over here. I know these people. I know it's a great company to be at. In jumping over, we were like, okay, great. We'll do, again, like the events will be your role. That's what you will do. Even knowing like in my time, I had built out these relationships with the different tech companies and different agencies and even brands themselves, because it's a lot of like, you're hitting kind of the same cities. You're working with you know what partners you work with best, of like, okay, these partners are really good at bringing their brands, or like they're really good at bringing prospects, or like we just have really good overlap in like we're selling to the same people. So started with the events. And then again, it was one of those things where like, kind of shortly after, we were leaning on my network that I had built just through doing the events more and more and more. Yeah. So it was like, okay, we're, like I'm not technically part of the partnerships team at Stay, but I know these people, I can leverage them. Like this is a really good thing where like we'll have, so a good example I can give is like, we'll have deals that are in the middle of a sales cycle. And one of the easiest things to do is just ping your partners that and say, hey, like it looks like you also work with this brand too. Can you put in a good word for Stay? Like, let them know that you just love working with us. Like, it's honest. Like, it's a true conversation of like, you work with us. We would love to work with them. That's what partnerships is. Yeah. So that essentially is what was like the catalyst to switching my title from just events. Again, events is great. I'm still doing the events. Yeah. It's still a huge part of the business, and like will become even more relevant in Q1 as we kick off all the conferences and all the shop talk, obviously, like all of the things. But my company also was like realized enough, and I'm super grateful that they were like, oh, we should actually, kind of make this a broader title and not just pigeonhole you to events. Because I think there's so much that goes into events that people don't think about until they have to do it. Like I've had so many tech partner friends that don't do events and randomly will get one thrown on their plate and they're like, oh my God, never again. Like never again. So I think you have such good skills from that. But just having the events title sometimes can pigeonhole you when like you don't deserve to be. So that was like a big part of it. It was like, okay, well, let's kind of like move away from that title, head into more of like the ecosystem marketing, because that really is what I'm doing. It's like the events is part of that. The partnerships is part of that. Even like being in part of the sales process. Like it just encompasses more. So yeah, that was a very long answer, but like kind of walks through the story of like how I ended up there.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I think that's a perfect answer. And I think it was long enough that our tea steeped in the process. So like, I don't know how you manage that, but here, let's try this. And then there's a lot to unpack there. I picked up on a few themes.
Okay, cool.
Here you go.
Okay. Take this. We got to do a cheers though.
Yeah. Okay. And it's probably very hot. Cheers.
It probably is. Cheers.
To event marketing.
Woo. Like, wait, I'm going to let it sit for a second.
It is hot, isn't it?
Yeah. I was going to say, I see the steam. The last thing I want is to burn my tongue on camera.
Yeah, you don't need that.
No.
Oh, it's good.
Was it? Okay, good.
It definitely steeped. That's a strong steep.
It's strong. Yeah.
You know what I think it is?
It was the 4-scoop combo.
It was the 4-scoop combo. I also think that normally the water I use at home, I've got like a spigot from the sink that's preheated, and I don't think it's getting to this temperature. So enjoy the strong tea.
I'm excited. I need like all the caffeine I can get today.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
I'm ready.
You're on the 3-day New York mission?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be here. Oh yeah, that's good though. No, I like it. I will be here until Friday. My flight leaves at like 3.
Okay,
so, yeah.
Nice.
It was a fly-in yesterday. Got here at 1:30. What did I do yesterday? Pretty much went like straight to my hotel, took a couple calls, did some work things, and then did a little ladies happy hour yesterday. And then today just like with a couple girls. Today, obviously this is kicking off my day. And then I'll do like some coffee meetups. And then we actually have a gala tonight that's like a big partnerships thing. So again, like going outside of the events, but still kind of an event. Yeah. But anyways, and then I'll fly out tomorrow.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, okay, so let's unpack the journey, Grace's journey into ecosystem management. Yeah. So I think there's a few things to point out. One is your background in creative beforehand. The other is the partnerships and the ability to create these relationships. And then the third that I picked up on was you were at a company where leadership recognized not only your strengths, but also like what event marketing was and how that like sort of related to you. So I think 3 things that seem like they played a role in your success. And then the other thing that I want to touch on in a bit with you is this sort of unspoken crossover between partnership marketing and event marketing.
Totally.
And how that looks at different companies and how maybe that should be looked at more holistically. But so let's start with the creative background piece. How do you think that has helped you? And do you see that as a common trait in event marketers?
I would say for sure. I think that's a very common trait because you essentially at the end of the day, you have to be creative enough to know, okay, this restaurant, like even if we're just thinking about it at a dinner level, I don't want to take anyone somewhere that's like not cool, not trendy. You can always research it, but a big part of it is like, oh, I like the vibes here. Like I'm like, oh, it's like cool artistically, it's styled well. I've taken us to places before that I like. One of the things I'll do, event marketing hack, is I get Architectural Digest and Bon Appetit magazines delivered, and they actually have lots of good like restaurants, and even like both of them separately they'll go into like either who the designer is, or Bon Appetit will just be like, oh, this is just a great restaurant with cool design. I found venues from those because I've just been flipping through and like, wait, this is in New York, this is in Dallas. I found a sushi place in Nashville that was like a hole in the wall like speakeasy vibe. It was like a total like vinyl lounge. They only play, music on vinyl. Fantastic sushi, like great little spot that I just like was flipping through. So all this to say, I really do think that that's a common trait that's shared. And to answer like the how it's helped me, one, I would say that like just kind of knowing like, oh, this is a cool venue. I like how it looks aesthetically, etc. I also would say one of the things I do is like create my own. When I do the landing pages, I'll make like my own little banner for it. So typically it's just like a picture put together, the date, the location, whatever it is. But obviously, like, I want it to be cute. So like pulling a little graphic design skill in there. And then a big part of, I think, how I've like leveraged my career is by tapping into like social media and like using my LinkedIn personally and kind of building a personal brand. And I think that's also something event marketers share because typically they're posting on Instagram stories, they're posting on LinkedIn, they're posting on, wherever it is. So I would say huge asset to me. I've leaned on it my whole career, and I think that that's a very common trait. Yeah, makes sense. My mom probably should have been an event marketer because she's got a stack of Bon Appetit and Architectural Digest since I can remember. But that makes a lot of sense. Attention to detail, knowing like just what do people gravitate to, what creates a vibe, and that goes between content and experiences. Then I'm sure like documenting the experiences that you create goes a long way to giving proof that, hey, the next one's also going to be fun as well. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, you for sure use both sides of your brain because you're, especially like a startup company or a company where like we're startup tech, we're a very big company. We have 55 people, but still like I'm the only technical events person. So you're creating the event, you're looking at the aesthetics and like whatever it is, and then curating the guest list. That's kind of all like relational and like qualitative things. And then you come back from the event, you're not salesy at the event, but like there are conversations of like, oh, like I work at Stay, this, we're subscriptions, we're the best in the space, whatever it is. And then they either at that point are like, okay, cool, or oh, that's awesome, like we've been looking to up our retention, whatever it is. So then you're taking that information back, plugging in, what's the potential contract size here, all of those things, and then following up, like doing the diligence of like, okay, we actually have to turn this qualitative into quantitative and justify like, why are we doing these events? There's got to be ROI. Like it can't just be like, oh, we're going to throw money at the wall and like hope that people like it. Like it's like we do have to convert at the end of the day, even if it's in a year, which sometimes like events are very long tail deals. Like they can go for a long time. But when they do convert, that's just more proof that like, okay, this is something that works. People do still value that human connection. Yeah, makes sense. And they can also be like the sort of catalyst for something that's already been taking a long time. Let's just get them over the edge. Kind of thing. Yeah, that I have a great example of that. It was at my last company. We actually went to a Drake concert. This was pre-canceling. So, I don't support the behaviors, but we did go to a Drake concert and we had been trying to close frame denim. for like as long as I can, like forever.
Yeah.
They weren't responding to emails. They weren't responding. Our CEO emailed her and was like, okay, well, would you like to come to a Drake suite at the concert? And she was like, well, yes. And also we should talk about what we want to do here.
Yeah.
So I think that's another big aspect is like you can get people over the line by getting in front of them and getting in person. It's a lot easier to have that conversation when it's not behind a screen or texting or whatever.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so we talked about how creative skills come into play.
Yes.
And then the ability to build relationships and partnerships. I think, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong or you feel differently, this is like you kind of got it or you don't, right? Like,
no, I would agree.
Yeah, you either
Very
have
much
the
so.
sauce when it comes to this kind of thing or you don't. And I think in general, event marketers are more likely to have that character trait.
Yep.
From what I've picked up, I've talked to a lot of event marketers at this point, learning this world. A lot of hospitality backgrounds generally, which, as you would imagine, requires having conversations, making people feel comfortable. But I think you do a great job of like taking it to another level and strategically thinking about not just how can I form a strong relationship with this person, make them feel comfortable in my presence, but what is this driving towards? What is the goal? What is a conversion? And like you mentioned, ROI. So talk about that. Is that something you learned or just had or
I would say it's definitely a soft skill. Like it's really not something you can teach. I would agree. I think that you have to be really extroverted. Like you're always on. Like you can't, be having a bad day and you're just like, I just don't want to talk to people. Well, too bad. Like that is your job. So that's part of it. Also the hospitality thing is funny. I was a server for like a couple years.
Okay.
So like checks out. Totally checks out. I think that it's just a mix of like good people skills, we talk about EQ a lot. Like it's a very high emotional intelligence role of like being able to have that conversation again, like I kind of mentioned before of like, okay, this is what my company does. And then reading their response on if they're interested or if they don't care at all, because it's not a sales role. Like you're at the end of the day, yes, we want to convert, but it is more about people having a good time. And then the conversion comes later. Like it's like, while we're in person, I would prefer you to just like have a fantastic time at this spa day, at this yoga event, at this whatever it is, and come back to you later and say like, hey, by the way, this is what Stay does. If you're interested, let me know. We can talk more. I think it really does require like just that, like read the room ultimately.
Yeah. I think that's a perfect way to put it. Read the room. We all know that person that just like can't. It's like, oh,
just
stop
can't.
talking.
And you're like, please stop talking.
Yeah, please, you're ruining it. Yeah.
You're killing the vibes.
I think everyone watching this is like thinking of that one person in their life, like, oh man.
They're like, I know them.
Yeah. Shout out to the room
that
readers.
One person. Yeah. The one person that doesn't know how to read the room.
Makes for good stories. Okay, that makes sense. And then the third piece that seems like added to your success is finding the right company, the right leadership team to recognize those skill sets. So when you started in event marketing at your previous company that sold B2B to e-commerce companies, right? That's the world you live in.
Yeah. So it's or do you want me to explain that, or do you want to
yeah, sure. I think
okay, cool.
I think it's important. And one thing to also note from my observations, the e-commerce world seems to be very like heavy in partnerships. I think that's a big piece of it. Actually, Popl and myself we used to be an e-commerce company. And fast forward a few years now, we are a B2B SaaS platform. So things have changed, but I've gotten to see a lot of like that world.
Okay, cool. That's cool that you have like the perspective of both. I feel like I know a lot of people in this space that.
And sorry, the last thing I'll say on that is that the e-commerce world seems to be very fun. I think because you're selling to companies that sell to consumers, you're selling to people that know what consumers want and are in tune with that. And so you're practically, in my opinion, selling B2C. And this comes back to that B2H concept. It's like you're selling to a person, not to a logo. But sorry, 100%. So like,
no, you're totally fine. I would agree with that. I think it's very much, I mean, the founder of my company, Gina at Stay, she literally talks about like, I built this because I know I shop a lot and I know what I want and I know what I want the experience to be.
Yeah.
We've done exercises. Like I've been at conferences before and someone's got on stage and is like, okay, we're going to pull up any brand and we're going to go through like their checkout process and see like what we should fix. So like it very much is, yes, we're selling to a business. So at a very high level, we are the subscription software. we are selling to a Vita Coco and we're like, hey, listen, this is how we're going to implement your subscription software. Your consumers are going to love it, like, et cetera. But with selling to them, a big part of that conversation is like, how does that improve the customer experience?
Yeah.
Like, it's all about the customer journey. We talk about that a ton. Like, what makes it seamless? What removes friction? What makes it easier to say, like, yes, I want to be a subscriber to this company because it was so smooth, so seamless, so whatever. Like, you handled it all for me.
Take my money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, yes, the person who signs the contract is the VP of e-com or whoever it is, but the person who's reaping the benefits is ultimately the consumer. So 100%, it is very, like, forward thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And so you were in an event marketing role, got hired at Stay in an event marketing role, and then they started to see the impact that you were having from all this Rolodex of connections that you had just over the years in the e-commerce industry, and your ability to basically bring people to the party.
Essentially, yeah. A big part of it was, like, my prior experience. So I had been doing the events for, I don't know, call it 2 years at that point. So it's like I had this big, like, LinkedIn connection list of, like, anytime I'm planning an event, I kind of start with, like, okay, we're going to go to Dallas. Who do I know in Dallas? Let's, like, filter my LinkedIn connections by that. And start there and move on. So, like, that aspect of it, I had, again, the partnerships, which, like you mentioned earlier, I think e-com and, like, Shopify e-com specifically is so partnership heavy because it's just like everyone knows everyone. Everyone's looking out for everyone most of the time, like, unless it's your competitor, I'm sure. But, like, most of the time it's like, okay, you would benefit from this. You need to meet this person. So it was kind of the combo of those two things of, like, I had the Rolodex of brands and then I had the Rolodex of partners. Yeah. And it just made more natural sense to like merge those two together, which I tend to find in this space. A lot of times, like, partnerships and events do really go hand in hand, whether it's the same person doing it or a person that's on the team. Like, I sit on the marketing team, but at my last role, I sat on the partnerships team. So, like, you can kind of go both ways where it's like, there's so much overlap and so much working together. Yeah. Okay. So at your last company, you were on the partnerships team. I was. Gotcha. Yeah. Interesting. And how big was that company employee wise? Much smaller. Okay. I think we had at our peak, I think we had like 25 people. Okay. I started super young there. So I think I was like employee number 7 or something. Like, cool. I was like really early on in the journey. And then obviously we got bigger. But yeah, the partnerships team was always just me and my boss. Like, there was just 2 of us. And obviously I mainly handled events. He mainly handled partnerships. There was some overlap of, like, if I couldn't make it to an event, he would go, he would oversee it. And then, like, naturally, as a byproduct of having the other tech partners and other agencies and, like, other brands out, like, I would pull in some, like, partnerships deals. And he was like, oh, well, you can just count them to your quota too. Because you do still do partnerships. So yeah. Makes sense. And that sat under the head of marketing. Right. So at my last company, we didn't have like a proper marketing team. We also kind of were doing the marketing as well. So it was like anything that we had, we kind of were doing, or we had like an agency that ran, socials and those sort of things. But any partner marketing opportunities essentially sat with us. Gotcha. So now my role sits underneath the head of marketing. So and then I sit alongside a content marketing manager, a growth marketing manager, and a product marketing manager. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So it sounds like, especially in your previous role and maybe even at this one, like the primary go-to-market strategy of your company is events and partnerships. It was 100%. Yeah. I know at my last company at one point, my boss and I, between like the partnerships team, I think we accounted for like 64% of deals that were closing. So Amazing. It was like, and maybe higher, maybe that was pipeline, but it was like, I know that at one point I think most of the time actually that we were there, like partnerships team was the number one lead source, which I've heard from other tech companies that like their partnerships are so successful because again, it's the whole B2H concept of like, if a human is if they're saying like, hey, this is our partner Stay, we love the work that they do over here, we really think they'd be the best option for you. Yeah. They are so much more likely to end up closing that deal because they have a trusted connection that they understand would not put them in like the wrong hand. Like they're not looking out for themselves. They want the brand to do well. So they're like, hey, this is who we really believe is the best for you. Go for it. And that does lead to a much higher conversion rate. Yeah. Their word carries a lot of weight. Exactly. Yeah. Very cool. Okay. So the partnerships and events drives, in many cases,
the majority, or at least a large share of revenue.
Yep.
And would you say, so we're pioneering this concept of in-person go-to-market, which, by the way, what do you think of that? What does that sound like to you? I know that's a newer term.
Yeah.
And our goal with Popl is to lead the charge as the pioneers of a new category called in-person go-to-market software, which says, look, we all know, and we've invested for hundreds of years sending people out of the state to other cities, to events, to Drake concerts, to hosting our own conferences, to attending conferences, paying for booths. Like, we know that this drives pipeline, creates business opportunities, but it's pretty hard to measure, especially when it's all happening offline, when the people you're meeting are like net new. So I'm curious what your take is on this like term and what you maybe have called it before, and where it fit in. Yeah.
I think that's a great term for it. I feel like I have maybe not called it that exactly, but like that ultimately is what all of my role is in-person go-to-market.
Yeah.
Like I sit on the go-to-market team. I'm kind of like the in-person lever that we pull.
Yeah.
I think that in my opinion, there's been lots of debate about like, do we do more events? Do we do less events? AI is taking everything out. Like, what is it? I think that the more technological we become, the more humans will yearn for connection. Like that to me just makes sense. Like, okay, if everything's AI and we're just pushing everything out and like we're remote and we're whatever, there was a huge bump after COVID when people could be back in person, like from being remote, that they wanted to be in person. And I think it will continue to swing that way of like, okay, yes, like let's get in person. Let's, again, make those connections, talk face to face, have harder conversations that are just like awkward and weird over the phone and like just not as comfortable. And yeah, I think like the measuring part of that is a big thing where like attribution is very tough for events, because you can have someone, I mean, I like touched on this a little bit, like you really have to be able to like convert that. But if you don't come back from the event immediately and are like, hey, they want to book a demo tomorrow, then like it is tough a year down the line to say, oh wait, hey, like that person actually did come to an event. They're coming in way late. Maybe this isn't like the number one source for why they're coming in, but it did contribute in some sense. Like there was some influence of some kind.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what tools are you using to measure that?
So the one that we're using right now, and this is like, this definitely sits with my boss, but Dream Data is kind of like it's, I think, for the broader marketing team, but I know that it helps out with, as far as I know, it definitely ingests data from Salesforce. So I think it is only as good as like your Salesforce data is. So everything does have to be really properly tagged and like track back to, oh, that was the Miami dinner, like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So I know we're using that. And then I think the rest of it is just like inputting into Salesforce, into HubSpot.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Okay. Yeah. So I assume your sales team uses Salesforce, marketing team uses HubSpot, and you probably have to live in both worlds. Yeah. Welcome to the life of a marketer, right? It's like, and we all wish we could just use HubSpot.
I know. And my last company was just HubSpot, and I was like, oh, this is so nice, and like the UI is so good, it's so user friendly.
Yeah.
And then now we have Salesforce, and I'm like, ooh, it's kind of ugly. Like, I'm like, I just don't like the way. Again, like the aesthetic thing. I'm like, it looks terrible. Very powerful tool. I get it. Like very helpful, but I'm like, I just wish their font was a little better. Yeah. Like, come on, like one step nicer.
Yeah. Okay. So, Dream Data, you said?
Dream Data.
Okay. Yeah. That's like an attribution tool, essentially?
Correct.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Of the in-person events that you guys are managing, how many of those do you know all of your attendees or leads that are involved ahead of time versus, for example, let's say you go to a booth at Shop Talk, and in the past, people rent badge scanners. Hopefully they're using a tool like Popl these days. There are net new leads who are walking around there that you're capturing.
Totally.
And if you only use a like historically lead retrieval badge scanner, that's not going to sync to your CRM. That's not going to say met at this event.
Right.
So what have you guys done to get around that to say, okay, like we spent the money to go to this conference, we met this person, and an opportunity got created, revenue came in, whether, you know, however long after the event that happened, but to claim credit for that, what do you guys do in that kind of situation?
So for kind of like two things. One, to answer like how many people we know ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's only for smaller kind of like 20-person dinners or something like that. Yeah, like private event.
Where you sent the invites.
Right. Like I sent out the party full. They signed up. I know who they are ahead of time. That's the one scenario.
Yeah.
The other scenario, here, I'll give you my teacup. The other scenario is the like walking around the, meeting in person, hitting the conference floor. That has all been incredibly manual. So maybe we need to look at Popl.
That was my underlying. I'm just kidding.
Headed.
That's not why I invited you on the podcast. My elaborate plan.
He's like, this is a great big scheme. I'm going to get her to close it from asking her on the podcast.
Yeah. And we're going to pause a moment from our sponsor, Popl.
Yeah. We're like, sign right here.
Yeah.
Sign right here. But yeah, it's just been pretty manual of like, basically, so depending on the team that we have going out, typically as of right now, so myself and our founder work super closely together. We're kind of like the number one people that have been going to events, but also anytime we're going to a conference, we want to bring someone from partnerships, maybe someone from sales, like whoever it is, usually a team of like between 3 and 5 people.
Your task force.
Yeah, my task force. I'm like, get the squad.
Yeah.
So like what I tell everyone to do ahead of time is like, okay, you're walking around, you're hitting the floor, like looking at people's badges, whatever you're doing. Whenever you have a conversation that's with a brand or even like with a partner or whatever, whenever the conversation's wrapped up, they walk away, just like hit a quick some notes on your phone. I'm like, just like write it down, text it to me, voice message. I don't care. Have a notes sheet somewhere because I'm going to want that note sheet again, because we have to get the ROI.
Okay.
So it's just basically what happens is like everyone writes their notes in whatever form. I request them either end of week or the next following Monday. I take all of that, put it together, drop it in a Google Sheet. We do a retro. This is who we talked to. This is how the conversation went. High, medium, low priority, you name it. But yeah, super manual, super like in the weeds.
Yeah. And when you say retro, meaning is that like a meeting you guys all come together and you say, okay, who talked to this person? What's the deal? Like, and make sure the notes are accurate or you enhance them on the spot there?
Correct. Yeah. So I'll bring, again, everyone who was at the conference, my boss, because he is in charge of the data, head of sales so that he can assign out who the AEs will be. And then partnerships so that they can know like, okay, these were the partners that were activated. This is what happened here. So it's kind of like a full like go-to-market leadership is involved in it because it is, again, it's a high spend. We want to convert. Like everyone needs to have visibility into what's going on. And then from there, it's like, okay, great. Here's the notes that we have. We'll enhance them on the spot. We'll assign the AE. Everyone's in the loop. We also assign like who's going to do the follow-up because I'm the number one person that will do it just because I run the events. But it also is like, okay, well, if Sam and AE talk to them the most, then Sam should do the follow-up.
Yeah,
like that, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, you own the relationship again, B2H, like that's your person. They don't know me. Why would I email them? Like they know you. Yeah. So that's kind of what we do to like walk back. Okay, like here's what happened in the past. This is what we're going to do moving forward to have to start these relationships.
Gotcha. How much do you guys spend to go to an event like Shop Talk? And I imagine that's your Super Bowl.
Yeah, Shop Talk is the Super Bowl. Shop Talk's like a weird one. In general, conferences, it depends on the level of like commitment that you want. So if you want to do booth meetings, hosted meetings, that's kind of been the thing lately is like booth and hosted meetings. That's probably going to be around like $20K. Okay. If you want to, like, we'll have Gina speak on stage. Again, she's a phenomenal person, built a fantastic company, like makes sense to have her on stage. That, depending on the conference, is like $30K. Okay. Typically also comes with benefits like the booth and the hosted meeting. Like it kind of like all rolls together. Yeah. There's also, again, those are really expensive. Like at my last company, we didn't have that kind of budget. We were a smaller startup. Like we started very young. I was working with like shoestring budget. So we didn't have that kind of money to be spending at big booths and whatever. Yeah. So what we would do instead, and what we still do for some conferences, because some conferences were like, it's just not worth the $50K. I'm like, that's egregious. Like, we don't need to do that. Yeah. So what we'll do is just plan events around it and like be in town and be around and say, okay, like the venue is here. We're going to camp out here and we're going to host this event and we're going to get sponsors involved. And like, there is a way to kind of work around it to be much more cost effective because a lot of tech startups don't have $20K to just throw at an event and hope it works.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, it's a big investment. And unless you know for sure, like this is the event where we always generate this much new pipeline, like that's a gamble in a sense. And if you can't measure it, then I mean, it's just a total crapshoot.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. So you are taking notes. How many of these events are you going to and managing a year?
So I go to and manage all of them.
Okay.
Because I'm a little OCD. No, it's not that. I like doing it. Like I don't mind the travel. I enjoy it. Again, I think in-person go-to-market is like where I'm strongest. So I'm like, I would rather be on the floor, be talking to people in person.
Yeah.
Let's see. In Q1, there's a heavy amount of conferences. So we'll hit, I would say, at least 3 I can think of off the top of my head. So we'll hit 3 conferences. At every conference we go to.
These are like national trade show level conferences.
Yeah, these are huge. It's the Shop Talk. NRF is like, I don't think we'll actually, that's a good example of like, I don't think we'll go to the conference, but we're in New York. We'll do something around it.
We'll have a presence. Yeah.
Triple E we're doing. E-Tail West, huge one, like massive one. So at each conference we go to, we'll plan at least 1 or 2 events around it. So dinners, happy hours, yoga, pickleball, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's why I'm like, it depends on how you want to count it. I guess we could call it, like chalk it up to like 6. If you're counting each one individually, it's 9, like kind of whatever way you slice it. In the summer, conferences slowed down. So we do a big road show. Cool. Which we'll do again this year. I think we had 11 events in the roadshow last year. So it was like Nashville, Miami, Austin, Charleston, like kind of just flew all over, hitting the cities that don't typically get hit in terms of big events. So we were like, oh, let's like go see them. We have customers there. We have prospects there. Like, let's do that. So I know we did 11 for that last year. September, we had a good amount of conferences. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know what the number I'm tracking up to here is.
We're talking on the order of dozens for sure.
Yeah. It's many.
Okay. And then during the roadshow season, are those conferences you're hosting with partners often?
Yeah. So all of my events that are small, so I call them like curated events. Essentially, that just means it's a smaller event. It's 20 people. There's a lot of thought, energy, time, effort that goes into what's happening.
Yeah.
All of those are, I would say, 85% of the time with partners. Every once in a while, we'll have a stray. Like we did a dinner in San Francisco just because we were already going to be there. That was like 5 people. So that was just us. Most of the time, we're aiming for like 12 to 20.
Yeah.
We typically will pull in like 2 sponsors each just because 1, it builds that partner relationship. 2, it allows them to get in front of them. 3, it offsets cost. Like it's kind of a win for everyone. Like, they're getting in front of them. It's a cheaper event. They don't have to spend, $10K on one dinner. We can all split the cost. So yeah, I would say that most of, if not all of our like smaller curated events have partners attached to it.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So in this world of partnerships and how they tie to events, so we're a partner with partnership leaders. Yeah. And I recently met that team at an event in New York.
Love it.
And through that, I've kind of gone on this journey where I'm learning about how partnership marketing and event marketing coexist. And especially at some of these really big tech companies, for example, Amazon or LinkedIn.
Right.
They're so big and they want to have such a presence that they can't be everywhere at once. They can't manage and plan all the events. So what I've learned is that oftentimes they have a dedicated budget, MF something budget, that is for going to other people who are hosting events in their space and say, hey, here's $20,000 for us to contribute, but I want leads out of it.
Totally.
Is that something that like you're involved in as well?
Yeah.
Do you see that kind of partnership happen?
100%. I think that there's kind of 2 camps of companies in e-com. It's people that have a dedicated event marketer. So like Stay, obviously I'm running all of our events. They have someone that builds out the events and is really good at that. And I know lots of people in the space that like, that's their job. They crush it. They're phenomenal. And then there's companies that are strapped enough. They like have partnerships managers, but don't necessarily have somebody that specifically they're not paying salary for an events person. I'll say it like that.
Gotcha.
So then they have this budget, whatever it is, a year that like they're not paying a specific events person. So then they are fantastic partners to just pull in and say, hey, this event's going to be $3K.
Yeah.
Let me know if you're in. This event's going to be $6K. Let me know if you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like the teams who have a specific events person are more in charge, leading it, putting it together, taking that money from the companies who don't necessarily have the bandwidth or have a team member that's putting those on, but they know, hey, Stay throws great events. I'm going to throw the $3K their way.
Mm-hmm.
We'll send 2 sales reps out there. They'll have a ball. Like they'll, that's typically what it is like, okay, there's a set cost. Some of their team members come, they get the list afterwards. So it's like they do get the leads from it. But they don't have to they just don't have the time or the person to do the manual labor of putting the event together.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And at those events, do you almost always know who's going to be there? Have they RSVP'd through some registration tool, or are there open ones where it's like, hey, just like maybe at an NRF, right? There are a ton of people going in and out of this conference that may hear about the your like what do you call them? Sidecar events, ancillary. I've heard different ways to describe
it's like
this.
you can call it whatever. I think ancillary is like the most common one, but sidecar. I like sidecar. I'm gonna start saying
there you go. Sidecar events makes you think of like the little like motorcycle.
I'm
and
like,
thing.
Sidecar. Okay, I like it.
Yeah. So at those and where people can kind of find the invite, do they still have to register, or can people show up? And the reason I ask is because are there ever leads that are like getting missed through this?
Great question. There are both. So again, like the curated events that are smaller and are really, there's a lot of detail that goes in. That's all heavily monitored, RSVP'd. Like, I mean, I'm texting
Came from
these
your
people.
LinkedIn,
like I'm texting these people day of and being like, you better show up. Like, we got to wait.
You're not
list.
coming back.
I'm like, you need to go. Like, let me know if you're going to be there. If not, please holler. Like, that is super curated. We do a lot of, there's like another camp where outside of the conferences, so we did this at Commerce Roundtable. We were at Commerce Roundtable in San Diego in September. It's like a big e-com conference. And we just hosted a happy hour that was like open invite. So that one, technically, yes, people do register and we have the list, but it was like 100 people.
Okay.
So that's open to tech partners, agency, brands. Like it's not just like, oh, hey, it's only the sponsors and the brands. That was one where we were like, it's more of an awareness play. It's not necessarily, again, going back to like that marketing thing of like, some events are for one-to-one leads. Some events are for customer retention. Some events are for awareness. Basically, it was like, okay, we're doing this event the day everyone gets there. There's nothing else going on. It'll be open invite. Everyone will be talking about us and our partners that are doing it. And like everyone will come to this party essentially, or like this happy hour. There's no check-in there. There's no like, oh, this person made it, this person didn't. Like when I'm handing out the list for that, I just go ahead and tell everyone, I'm like, I didn't do a check-in, so I can't tell you who was or wasn't there. In your follow-up messaging, be clear, like use a message that doesn't like, thanks for RSVPing. Hope you made it. Something like that. Like I'm like, don't say thanks for coming because I don't know if they came. So that is more, it's just kind of like goes back to, again, like what do you want specifically from this event? And I think there are definitely examples like that where it's more of like a free-for-all in terms of like, this is more of an awareness play. We want people to be talking about us. We want to get in front of our partners, our people, our brands before the conference starts. So then at the conference, they're spreading the good word. We love the State team. They're amazing. We love their product, whatever it is. So kind of just depends.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. You mentioned there are sort of like 3 different purposes of events. You mentioned brand awareness, customer retention, and new customer acquisition.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So when you and your team say, we're going to commit to this event, is there a process where early on you say, this is the goal of this one?
Oh, yeah. We put together an RFP or a request for proposal for every event. So it's basically I will pull that proposal together and then send it to my boss, head of marketing, and say like, okay, check this out, make sure it looks good. Then we send it to the CEO and the CFO. So it's like a full approval of like, okay, if we're going to spend this much, everyone needs to be bought in. A good example is Triple E. We will be sponsoring and speaking at Triple E. So obviously that was a larger spend. So I put the proposal together. I said, hey, like this is typically I'll put on there, the amount of people that are expected to come, the customers we have in the area, the prospects that will be there. And that's based on either information they give me, information from a past event, like something that I'm kind of like, okay, we have a target of this is the list of brands that came last year. Let's look through that. We have 50 ideal customers on there. So there's like, we can target 50 ideal customers. We can target 10 current customers. We can target 20 partners. It's kind of like at every level what this benefits us and like what the expected outcome is, where there's no like, never at any point in time are we like, oh, I guess we'll just sponsor and like hope it works out. Like it is very thought out. It's very data driven of like, this is a good event. This is why. A good example is we're doing that gala tonight that I mentioned. That was a pure partnerships play. So like there was spend on it, but like I went in and told everyone like, this is just for partnerships. Like
to create new partnerships.
So it's actually, so potentially it's also a lot of like partners that we have. We recently had a new director of partnerships start, and he hasn't necessarily like posted where he is yet. So I was like, this will be his debut. I was like, in-person debut. It's a group of, I think it's like 250 partner leaders in our space from all over, from LA, from overseas, from Dublin, from like wherever it is. So I, going into it, was like, hey, this is the cost. There will be no pipeline directly from, like, there's no brands coming to this that I can sell to. However, us being in person and having that in-person element will help build up those partnerships, and those partners will refer us leads.
I see.
So the conversion might not be tomorrow. We might not get the ROI back immediately.
Yeah.
But we will build a better relationship, which will lead to leads, essentially.
Yeah, so, makes sense. And there's really no way to measure the strength of relationship building, right? Like there's no platform that says, here's how I tell you the strength of your partnership with Stay and Popl, right? Like that's just something they trust. That's why you get paid.
Exactly.
To make those decisions, make those calls. Yeah.
Very much so. I think the only thing you can measure is like, okay, they gave us 10 leads, but like that's still
the strength of like,
like it's like that still doesn't, that's not marketing, that's not events, that's not, all the other things that you put into the pie of partnerships to make it a good partnership. It's just like one quantitative element.
Yeah, makes sense. Are you using any AI tools to enhance the leads that you have that are coming from events to get more information or unique information that historically hasn't been available to us as B2B marketers?
Yeah, great question. So we use Clay.
Okay.
I would say, I don't think we use it after the fact. We definitely use it beforehand. Okay. So it is a data enrichment tool that pulls from LinkedIn. So what we'll do is say, okay, we're going to go to Nashville. I have, we have our top customer list of however, like, I don't know, call it 200 top customers. And we're like, find us. Yes, exactly. So find us, everyone that's part of the top customer list, that's a director level and above, marketing, e-com, customer experience. Yeah. And then make them all be in Nashville. So then it shoots out this list of like enriched, like they live in Nashville, they live in Franklin, like the cities even around it. And they're, here's their email, here's their phone number, and like whatever. Again, pulling that information from LinkedIn so that their location is accurate. Yeah. Or as accurate as they put it on LinkedIn. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that's our biggest one. Clay. I think it's just spelled like like clay.
Yeah. CLAY. Yeah. Okay, and that's a tool that you use personally? Okay.
Yeah, I use it. My boss mainly. I will give him all the credit. He's the main one that uses it, but I get in there sometimes and I'm like, okay, let me find this list he made me.
Yeah, nice. And do you connect that with HubSpot? Or is that more of like you get a spreadsheet?
That's a good question. I don't actually know if it connects directly to HubSpot. It's more of like I'll export the data and then have it in a sheet. I'm a big Google Sheets girl. Like I'm like, I wish I was more of a tools person, but I'm like, I just need to be able to like write notes, and like that's just how my brain works. So like I just kind of export it and then write all my notes, cross people out, etc.
Yeah. Okay. When you take notes, whether it's in this case like you've exported a list from Clay and now you're one by one examining, or you and your team went to a conference and they took notes, do those, like, what do you do with a note? It's like a long text field. Do you just upload that to a field in HubSpot, or are you extracting bits out of that to fill out smaller, like single line text type or checkbox fields? Like, what does that look like?
So there's fields so this is more like the sales side. Then we hop over to Salesforce, and there's a field in Salesforce in the deal, like in the company level, I would say, that's like deal source details. Yeah. So when we create an op, then like that information goes in there. We also track. So the way that we do it is like we will create a campaign for the event, and then
in Salesforce.
Okay. So create the campaign, dump all the names in. There's like a whole long process that runs it through HubSpot and Salesforce, but then tags everyone and then tags the companies of like, okay, they were hit. And then again, at this event.
That's
and then
like
that plugs into Dream Data, which then helps us. That Dream Data really is like the ROI tracker, I would say, for like what we spend. Because like all that information's in there.
Yeah.
So Field and Salesforce. And then I mean, I like have the Google Sheets. So I can always reference back. Like if there's like further notes that I don't know of or like more context, I can always pull that back up. But yeah, it's like a field in Salesforce.
Okay, cool. Makes sense. I'm going to have to check out Dream Data.
Yeah. I wish I knew more. I don't even know if I fully have account access yet, but he'll just show me stuff and be like, oh, this is all the information. I'm like, this is very cool.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Attribution is such a hairy animal, you know?
Absolutely.
There's like science, but there's also like no science to it. It's like all subjective.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Okay. So last thing I think, and then we'll wrap up here. Can you think of like a time where you had to be really scrappy and resourceful, maybe at the previous company where you didn't have a big budget and it's like, hey, go like create some pipeline, make something happen, show business impact from event marketing efforts?
I feel like all of event marketing is super scrappy again, just because of the attribution and like figuring everything out. I would say at my last company, for sure, again, we didn't have like a specific dedicated budget, but they knew that they wanted to do events. So my entire time there was basically running a P&L of like, okay, if we want to go to this conference, but it's this much, we don't have that. So what event can we do to help like offset that with sponsorship? So it was like, okay, we knew, and again, like I'm putting the whole event together, I'm finding the people, I'm doing everything. So like, yeah, I am charging the sponsors. It's not like me or the company was profiting off that, but it was more like, okay, this will help offset the cost of getting us there or the cost of whatever. So definitely for sure, like my whole time at that company was just like very scrappy in terms of like running basically like profit and loss of like, okay, this is what's happening. I would also say the other thing about events that is just always a problem is like day of finding butts to put in seats. Like there are always people that last minute will drop or will get sick or their kid will get sick or their dog, like you name it. Yeah. So it really.
You've seen all the excuses.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, oh,
like a middle school teacher.
Like, come on. No, literally. I'm like, your dog ate your homework. Like, So it, again, like you've paid this amount, you need to show that it was worth it. Yeah. So there has been countless days, day of, I'm in a city that I don't live in. I'm on my phone. I'm on my laptop. I'm calling people. I'm texting people. I'm hitting everyone up on LinkedIn. I'm like, please God, come to this event. Like we have a seat, you know, and a lot of that was like learned efforts of like, okay, well now I should have a wait list of 5 people and like should text them and like just be much more communicative to like everyone that's coming to the event. But I would say that's probably one of the scrappiest thing. Like we had done a Zach Bryan concert last November in Salt Lake City. And like, for whatever reason, just day of, everyone was like, I can't, I think we had 10 people drop like day of, maybe 8. And I was like, this is the most people I've ever had drop out. So I'm like messaging everyone. I'm calling my people that live there. I'm like, do you know anyone that can come to a concert? Like whatever. So I think that's probably the biggest example I can give of just like sheer scrappiness. And it's like that will never stop. Like that is part of the gig. I know that going into it.
Makes sense. Have you ever shown up to an event and said, hey, we're just going to divide and conquer, boots on the ground, walk up to whether it's booths or people and kind of do guerrilla marketing?
Oh, totally. Yeah. That's a huge part of, it was and still is a huge part of my strategy for trade shows specifically. So because we work in subscription, we're really big with obviously anything that's replenishable. So food, coffee, like CBD products, you name it. Yeah. So we recently, myself and my boss, just got passes to Newtopia Now, which is like, it's in Denver. I don't know if it's like a health foods conference or technically what it is, but it basically is like, obviously the brands are trying to sell to wholesalers. So it's an awkward Uno reverse of like, you're going up to this brand at their booth because it's like just the whole entire floor essentially is like brands we can sell to. And you're like, hey, you know, it's again like building that relationship, having the EQ to be like, hey, this is actually like, I know you're trying to sell me, but now I'm going to try and sell you because I'm walking up to you. You're thinking I'm like a wholesaler. Yeah. I'm not. I don't own a boutique grocery store in LA. Like, I actually am trying to sell you. So I think I've done that a lot. I've done that for the PGA show, which is golf stuff. Yeah. I've done that at Newtopia Now. There's definitely another one, but yeah, it's just, again, like trying to figure out how to navigate that conversation of like, okay, well, actually this would like, could be good for you. Yeah. Grab your card, give you my card, whatever. And I have closed deals from that. Like nice. it does convert. It's just uncomfortable, potentially awkward. And like, sometimes it goes worse than others and you just got to like pack it up and move to the next booth. And you're like, dang, that was a horrible conversation. I'm moving on. Like, So yeah, that's a learned skill. That works for us very well, but it takes the right kind of person. And absolutely. You can't be afraid of rejection, and you got to enjoy having conversations. I think that's the key, is like, you just got to enjoy talking to people. Absolutely. Because as soon as you get knocked down, you're gonna be like, first off, I don't even want to talk to people. And now like the people are being mean to me. So you got to find the right people for that role. Yes. But it's effective, right? It is effective. And you can prove the ROI on that. And like, now all you had to pay for was a flight and a hotel room for you and one other person. Yeah. And if one deal comes out of that, I mean, that pays for covers who knows any, right, exactly. More than that. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing about events too, is like, it's sort of like a high risk, high reward thing. Like, it's, it's not sitting behind a desk and emailing people all day. It's like, you have to be out there and it's going to cost money and like whatever. But if you get one deal, it covers the whole thing, then some. So it's like, it, definitely worth it. You just very much is having the right person that likes talking, enjoys, like, I think that I just genuinely enjoy having conversation. Like, I'm like, I don't, even on the days where I'm like hungover, tired, like dry, we go to Las Vegas, I'm like, I'm drying out, I'm a raisin out here, but I'm like, at the end of the day, like, I do still enjoy human connection and just want to talk to people. And I think that makes a big difference in terms of like, they're not, people aren't sensing that like you don't care or like you don't want to talk to them. It is like, it is a part of like, okay, you do like talking, you have the skills to like read the room and have that conversation. Makes sense. And that's like part of our in-person go-to-market, category that we're looking to build, is to teach companies that you can do that. You don't have to spend $20,000 on a booth, $30,000 for your CEO to speak, and then like, $10,000 for a happy hour. Like, you can literally spend less than $1,000 on a plane ticket, $500 for an attendee pass, and go to conferences and create pipeline. And that, like, with the power of AI and like tools like Clay and these B2B databases, all of our info is out there. We want to teach companies that this is possible. Like, it doesn't have to break the bank to go be in person. I think you just have to have the right person with the soft skills and the passion for talking to people, and then like the tools that enable you to do that. So I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing all your experiences. I think you are a shining example of what an event marketer can and should aspire to be. And you're still early in your career, so it'll be very exciting to see how this shapes up. And you'll have to come back on the show, but I will. I know. I'll have to return when I have even more experience. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Thank you for having me. Yeah, this has been lovely. Thank you, Grace. The tea was great. Yeah, thank you. I mean, 10 out of 10. Cool. Awesome.